Good morning. Or it's morning when I'm recording this, whether you're watching in the morning or not. But quick little lesson if you've never done a Sudoku puzzle before, just to kind of walk you through the basics and kind of understand how the game works in the hopes that you might be willing to try one for yourself. So the basic idea is you'll notice that going across each row, there are 9 boxes, meaning you're going to fit the numbers 1 through 9. If you go up and down, there are 9 boxes, meaning the numbers 1 through 9. And then within each of these larger squares, there are 9 smaller squares, meaning the numbers 1 through 9. So the whole basis of Sudoku is based around the numbers 1 through 9, and that you can't repeat the same number more than once. So for instance, you'll see in this row, I have a 5. So I won't have any more 5s in this row. And I have a 5 down here. So I don't have any more 5s in this row. But you'll also notice that I have a 5 in this box, so there won't be another 5 in this box. And over here, there's no more 5, there's already a 5, so I can't have another 5. So the 5s are basically done. But up in this box, you'll notice I don't have a 5 anywhere. But there's already a 5 in this middle row, there's already a 5 in this right-hand row, so the only place a 5 can go is in this spot over here. So I know my 5 has to go here because it's the only spot in this box where it doesn't line up with one of the other ones. So now I have a 5 in each of my 3 columns, so I know I'm taken care of there. Going along that same line, look at this row. There are 9 boxes going across. Each number can only show up once. So you'll notice I have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6. I don't have a 7, but I have an 8 and a 9. That means my last number has to be a 7, because in each row, every one of my numbers needs to have been used once. So the idea is you just kind of keep working your way across the board, looking up and down, looking across, and making sure you don't repeat the same number in a row. So for instance, you'll notice in this row, I have a 5 down here. You'll notice in this row, I have a 5 down here. So these 2 columns, I can't have another 5. So I need a column in, or a 5 in this row. There's already a 5 down in this big box. There's already a 5 in this box. So those are both done. So the only place I can put a 5 is it has to be in this box up here, and it has to be in this left column because these 2 columns already have 5s in them. So I'm kind of piecing it together a little at a time. And it's just really just training your eyes to kind of look for things. So for instance, go down to this row. I like to look at places where I know a lot of information, so I only have to fill in a little bit. So you'll notice I already have a 1, I have a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, and a 9. That means I'm missing a 2 and a 3. Now I gotta figure out which one goes where. Well, look at this column going up and down. Notice I already have a 3 up here, so I can't have another 3 down here. And notice over here, I already have a 2 up here, so I can't have a 2 down here. So while I had 2 possibilities, that just narrowed it down. It needed to be either a 2 or a 3. Well, I know it can't be a 3 because there's already one there, so it has to be a 2. Over here, in this spot, there's already a 2 up here, so I can't have another 2, so this must be my 3. And we just use some process of elimination to narrow down some possibilities as we work our way across. And then you just kind of keep working your way as you go. So, for instance, you'll notice in this column, I already have a 3. And in this column, I already have a 3. So I need a 3 in this column, but it has to be in this box because the other boxes already have a 3. Well, that only leaves one spot. So I know a 3 has to go up here. All right, so as you add in more and more, you start to see more and more opportunities. Oh, didn't want to move my 5. I want to move the bar out of the way. And no, you don't need to draw these bars or anything like that, but it just helps me kind of show you where I'm looking. So you'll notice I have a 7 here and a 7 here. So these 2 rows already have their 7s. So I know I need a 7 up in this row, and it's going to have to be in this box over here someplace. Okay? So let's see. I know I have a 7 already here. So that means I need a 7 either here or here. Well, in this case, I don't know enough information yet to be able to put that in place. So I'll have to move up to something else. It's a lot of trial and error, checking different places and seeing what you can see. So let's see what else I can find here. Let's see. All right, so now I'm going to look at 5s. I'm going to tackle those 5s again. So you'll notice I have a 5 here, so this box and this column are done. I've got a 5 here, so this column and box are done. So I need a 5 up here, but there's only 2 spots left. Well, if you look over this way, you'll notice there's already a 5 over here. So it can't be this spot, so it has to be this one. Okay. So let's look at some more possibilities. What else can I find? And sometimes it's just a little bit of trial and error. You kind of keep bouncing around, trying different things, and you can find something that works. But a good thing to look for is, where do I know 2 of something? Maybe I know 2 of the rows, but I don't know the 3rd piece. Let's see. I'm kind of scanning around, looking to see what I can find. All right, so let's take a look at this box up here. Just see if we can narrow down the last piece. I've already got a 2, a 3, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm missing a 1 and a 4. Well, I kind of scan across. There's no 1s or 4s there. There's no 1s or 4s there. So I can't do that. So let's look for some more possibilities. Let's see. All right, I'm going to take a look at my 7s. You'll notice going up and down, both of these rows already have a 7 in them. Up here and down here. So I know I need a 7 in this row and in this box, because this box already has one and this one has one. Well, there's 2 possibilities, but if we look across, you'll notice there's already a 7 over here. So that narrows things down for me. There's already a 7 in this row, so I can't go here, so my 7 has to go here. I'm kind of narrowing it down to where there's only one possibility. So let's stick with our 7s. So I've got a 7 in this column, and I've got a 7 in this column. So up here and down here. So I still need 1 in this box. I've already got 7s in both of these 2 rows, so the only place left for a 7 is right up here. I've kind of narrowed things down and kind of eliminated different possibilities. So let's look at 4s. So let's see, I've got, so I'm going to move some stuff out of my way here. So you'll notice I have a 4 here and a 4 here. So these 2 columns are done, but so are these 2 bigger boxes. So I know I need a 4 down in this box, but it has to be in this row. Well, you'll see there's only one spot where that's available. So I know my 4 has to go here. I've kind of eliminated some of the possibilities to narrow that down. Let's see if we can do any more with our 4s. Let's see. All right, doesn't look like I can do any more with my 4s quite yet. So let's move on to something different. And don't feel like you need to watch me all the way through to the end. Once you've kind of picked up the idea, feel free to go ahead and tackle it on your own. But I'm just going to kind of talk you through how I would think about this one in the hopes that it helps you if you try it for yourself. All right. So I'm going to look down in this bottom corner. I'm going to look at 7s. And I don't have a lot to go off of, but I have enough. You'll notice I already have a 7 in this row, and I already have a 7 in this row. Sorry, this column in this row. Well, that only leaves one open box that a 7 could go into. So I know my 7 has to go there. Now, if I take that new 7, and I think about going up and down my columns, both of these columns already have 7s, and this box already have 7s. So I know I have to have a 7 up here, and there's only one spot for it to go. It has to go there. So I've narrowed it down and kind of taken care of my 7s. I think I've done my 7s in every box now. So 7s are done. I think my 5s are pretty close to being done. Okay. So let's start to narrow things down a little more. And Sudokus are not fast. It's kind of slow and steady and a lot of searching around. You're going to look for things. Oh, that doesn't work. And then you're going to try something different. And that's okay. So I saw some 8s that I can take care of, because I noticed I have an 8 in this row and an 8 in this row. So I know I have 2 of those rows done. I know I have to have one in this box, but there's only one spot left for it to go up there. So I know my 8 has to go here, because it can't be in the same row with somebody else. Now, looking at that same box, so focus on this box over here. Let's see if we can narrow anything else down. So I have a 1, a 2, so I'm missing a 4 and a 3. Let's see if I can narrow it down which one goes where. Well, I already have a 4 down here, so that means my 4 would have to go here, because it's got to line up. And that means my 3 would have to go here, because again, I have to have one of each number in the box. So it doesn't even matter where everything else is, because I know my 3 has to go there. Now, come back over to this box. If you remember, we had a lot of information, but we were missing a 1 and a 4. Well, if you look going across now, I already have a 4 over here, so I can't have another 4 in this row. So I know my 4 has to go up here, which means my 1 has to go down here. Now, if you stay with this same horizontal one, you notice we're kind of knocking out a lot of information that narrows down what could be there. I already have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, and an 8. So that means the last piece in this row has to be a 9. So let's see if we can finish this row. Let's see if we have enough information for it. So scanning through this row, I'm missing a 1 and a 2. So now look up and down. Notice I already have a 1 in this column, so I can't have one up here. And I already have a 2 in this one, so I can't have it up there. So that means my 1 can't go here, so it has to go here. And my 2 has to go here. I've narrowed it down to those are the only possibilities that could fit in those spaces. So let's kind of keep going. Let's jump down here and see if we can finish out this column. I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm missing a 6 and a 9. So let's see. Do I have enough information to narrow any of those down? No, there's no 6s or 9s here. And there's no 6s or 9s here. Ooh, but there is already a 9 down here. So I know this box already has the 9. So the only one of my numbers that could fit there is my 6. And then going up and down, the only one left is my 9. Coming out of this box, you notice I'm only missing one piece, in this case a 1. So I'm going to put my 1 right there. You'll notice the more we fill up the board, the easier and easier this gets for us. So like now let's look at the 1s. So I've got a 1 up here, and I've got my 1 down here. So I know I need a 1 somewhere here, but it has to be in this row because it can't be in the same row as anything else. And then if you look this way, I already have a 1 going this way. So I know it can't be here. So I've narrowed it down to 2 possibilities. Unfortunately, I don't know enough quite yet to be able to fill it into that last spot. So I'm going to have to keep playing around. That one didn't work for me. So let's keep working wherever I know a lot of information. So let's jump down to, let's look at this column and see if we can narrow anything down. Again, I've only got 2 spots left, and it's got to be the numbers 1 through 9. I already have a 1, I have a 2, so I need a 3. I got a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then I need a 9. So I need a 3 and a 9. Well, let's look here. Oh, if you look down here, in this row, you'll notice I already have a 9, so I can't have another 9 here. So that means my 9 has to go here, and my 3 has to go here. All right, let's keep working. Let's do this. Let's try and finish this box down here. So I've got a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6. I need a 7. I need an 8 and a 9. Well, if we look at this row, you'll notice I already have my 9. Remember, we noticed that with this 3 over here. So the 9 can't go here, so my 9 has to go here, which means this spot has to be my 8, because I have to make sure I use each of my different numbers. So let's go up a row, and let's look at this one. Again, I've got a 2, a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, oh, no, and a 3. So I'm missing a 1 and an 8. So let's see if I can narrow it down. Well, if I look at this column, I already have a 1, so I can't have a 1 there. So the 1 has to go here, which means my 8 has to go here, which makes sense. I already had an 8 in this row and an 8 in this row, so it makes sense that I had to have an 8 there. So let's see what else we can figure out. But I'm just kind of bouncing around looking for places where I know a lot of information, so there's not too much to have to figure out. So what if we try to finish out this row? And we're also finishing out this box. So in this box, I've got a 1, a 3, a 5, 7, 8, and 9. So I need a 2, a 4, and a 6. So let's look up and down and see if I can narrow down those possibilities. Let's see. Well, I know I can't have a 4 here or a 6, because the 4 and the 6 are already up here. So I know this one has to be my 2. All right. Now I need a 4 or a 6. Well, there's not a 4 or a 6 in this row or in this one. So I can't quite finish those yet. So let's keep working. And let's see if we can finish out somewhere else. Oh, let's look at this column. Notice there's only one box left. Well, there can only be one number left. I've got a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, and a 9. So that leaves an 8. So let's see if we can finish out this box. Let's see. It looks like I'm missing a 2 and a 3. Well, if you look going across this way, you'll notice I already have a 2, so I can't have a 2 there. So that's going to have to be my 3, and this is going to have to be my 2. So let's see if we can finish those 3s. So I have a 3 in this row and a 3 in this row, so I need someone up here. And I already have a 3 in this row and a 3 in this row. So it really only leaves one possibility for me. That has to be my 3. And let's see if we can do the same with our 2s over here. So I have a 2 going this way, and a 2 going this way. So I already have a 2 here and a 2 here. I already have a 2 up here and a 2 over here. So that leaves me with one possibility. So scanning up, I've got 2s in these 2 columns. Going across, I have 2s in these 2 rows. So my 2 has to go here. And we're getting awfully, awfully close. So I'm going to start, I'm not going to use my bars anymore and just kind of point to where I'm looking at. All right, so I'm narrowing things down. Look at this column going up and down. I'm only missing one thing. I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I need a 6. So that's got to be my 6. Now going across, you'll notice I have a 6 here and a 6 here. So these 2 rows are taken care of, and these 2 boxes are taken care of. So a 6 has to go here. Now if I scan up and down, I've got a 6 in this row and a 6 in this row. So I have to have a 6 in this one. And then going across, the only thing I'm missing is a 4, so that has to go there. Now I've got a 4 in this row and a 4 in this row. So a 4 has to go in this one. I'm just kind of narrowing things down. Now I've got a 4 going across and a 4 going across. So the only place for a 4 is up here. And now it's just trying to figure out what the heck am I still missing. So let's see. Over here I'm missing a 1 and an 8. Well, I already have a 1 up here, so I know my 1 has to go here. And then my 8 has to go here. I've already got an 8 going this way, and an 8 going this way, so my 8 has to go here. And then the last thing I'm missing is a 1. And I've finished my Sudoku puzzle. And the way to check is scan up and down any column or any row or in any box. Do you see 1 of every number? You shouldn't see a repeat, and you know you've solved it.